I particularly enjoyed the use of props because it helped create the light-hearted content which they wanted to achieve for the piece. This film had a very quirky yet modern look for it. This is used with the props because they used an iPhone to show the modern side of it and an old 80s TV set to show the quirky kind of cool style that this guy has had. But what intrigued me most was the content playing on the TV, which was a nature program, which I thought was quite interesting because we didn't initially hear from the main character herself, but hear from the program how the mammals in the ocean were very similar to the humans. This shows that animals and humans are very similar in that sort of sense when it comes to love. I think the love genre is very important to play with because it is evident throughout all eras. Um, the orange, blue, and white worked perfectly together for the colour background because they were all very clear and clean colours to look at, and it didn't distract from the content itself. This is probably because the company used a very naturalistic light when on the character, because if they would have used filter it would have changed the genre and it would have distracted. Everything in the apartment was very modern, which made it very interesting to look around the space because it created and sorted his quirky world that he lived in. Due to his flat being so interesting, it made a great location because it showed that we didn't have to go to multiple places to create a story, but each room in his house had a different objective. For example, the kitchen was where he got advice from his friends, and the living room was where he was going to get the head in the game to get the number, which created a different perspective and emotion for each room. The house itself, with its quirkiness, helped create a backstory to the character. This is interesting because it highlighted how we don't have to always use speech to show a character's personality. Because the apartment was very clean and very beautiful, you think that he would have girls coming after him. However, it's only until we look at his body language when he scrunches up his shoulders and his defeated tone when he talks to his friend where he sounds very upset. I also like the fact that the concept was very simple. It was about a guy trying to find a girl's number that he couldn't find and resulting in looking in multiple ways. This is good because it sticks to the short film basics of looking into a key moment of someone's life. They haven't got time to be fully expressing who this character is, but they want an interesting part, which I think they did quite cleverly with the use of the numbers by having them being scratched off, and we can see eventually his frustration. Also, the use of proxemics was very cleverly used because the more annoyed he got, the further away he would walk from the phone. However, if I was director, I would change the fact that I would have liked to have seen more quirky characters on the phone instead of the basic normal ones to hear. This could have amplified the comedy era. I wish he would have used some more facial expressions, especially when he was getting frustrated. It would have been quite nice if he got very agitated and changed the tone of his voice to make him sound more interesting. I also thought the camera was very stereotypical shot, close up, reverse shot. Instead, if they would have used ideas like a crane or putting the camera inside an object, it would have made it more intriguing, especially because it is only set in a house. It would have been quite nice to have known why he was so desperate to meet this girl, what made it so different, even if it was just a the brief look into the bar, it would have been a bit more intriguing. And also, it would have been nice to see the actual lives of the people on the phone. They could have achieved this by doing a split screen, which is very commonly used in the comedy era. This is evident in films like Mean Girls. Overall, I really enjoyed the film Digits.